everyone, welcome to Lilnda's Kitchen. This video is more for a brand new prepper. Somebody who has just recently, in the last few months, have decided that they see what's going on in this world and they want to start prepping. So I had a young lady who asked me if I would do a video on what is a long-term pantry, basically what kind of things you would prep for long term. But all preppers basically have two kinds of pantries. One is a long-term, excuse me, I'm gonna scoot you back a little bit. One is a long-term pantry, which for me could be anywhere from 2+ years, 5, 10, 30, and anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And so I want to show you some of the things that are considered long-term that could be anywhere from 5 years plus. Maybe some of them might be around 2 or 3. And then the rest of them are good for maybe a year to 2 years. But with that being said, a pantry should have a combination of both, because when you start a prepper pantry, you're going to be rotating through your foods. Now some of your longer term foods that I'm going to show you for long-term storage, you kind of want to let those sit, and if they have extremely long times for 10, 20, 30 years, those will kind of be like sitting there waiting on you when SHTF happens. So let me just show you some of the things to start off with of what you should be prepping for your long-term prepper pantry. Of course, we all know spaghetti noodles. Spaghetti noodles last a very long time. I would say well beyond the date. I would say 5+ on noodles. Rice. You want to make sure you have plenty of rice. This is kind of, the noodles and the rice are kind of like a staple. They're a binder. These are what's going to stretch your food and make it go far. Where you take a 1 can of meat and you can turn it into feeding 4 people if you need to. So I wish you want to have plenty of rice in your pantry. Now while I'm on the rice issue, I want to mention one other thing. Brown rice. Brown rice is something that you want to prep for if you eat it. Never prep a food you don't eat, because you're going to be rotating it. Because if you don't rotate your pantry, you're going to have a lot of spoiled food. The whole idea is to buy what you eat. If you don't like something, don't buy it. Eat the things that you like, because that's what's going to be there for you to grab when crap hits the fan. Sorry for my language, is what you put in it. So put the foods that you eat. If you don't eat something, even if it's good for 50 years, don't put it on the shelf. But rice, this is brown rice. This is not good for long-term storage. It's got some oils in it that tend to release out after a while, which makes it go rancid. So this is not good for long-term storage, but it is very good in a rotating pantry. So yes, this is something you should, if you eat it, stockpile. Of course, you want to have canned meats. This canned meat is good for till 2026. This is what I've considered long-term storage. You got canned ham, canned chicken, canned tuna. But I also have some, what is this? Luncheon meat. You want to make sure you have meats on there now. You need your protein. But I also have home canned chicken. Now home canned versus this can, these are all good past the date, well past the date. But eventually you're going to start tasting the can that it's in. This can eventually is going to, this jar of chicken is going to last many more years than what this can of chicken will. So if you know how to pressure can, I really suggest pressure canning your food. Like, I would say that the shelf life, they say, is 1 to 2 years, but this is really probably good for 10 years plus. As long as it's sealed, it is, and doesn't break the seal, it is good. Same with this. This is one of the meatloaves. Remember, I have a meatloaf video that I did for y'all that shows you how to pressure can meatloaf. I'm going to leave the link to that down in the description below. And this is one of those. That's going to be good in an SHTF situation, long term. Also, you want canned goods. Canned goods are good for long term. They're kind of in the middle. They last, the shelf life on them is about 1 year to 2 years, but they're good past the shelf life. But if you take and dehydrate your vegetables, these are good for 10 plus. These are wonderful in a soup or casserole. This is my soup blend. It's got corn, carrots, peas, all kinds of stuff in it. I'm going to leave the link in the description below where I have a video where I show you how to dehydrate this. This is one of my go-to things. Another thing that I'm enjoying that I dehydrated for my long-term pantry is broccoli. Oh my goodness. It is so good in some macaroni and cheese, or put them in some potatoes au gratin or in a soup. I think they even come back good enough that possibly, I haven't tried it, I plan to, that it possibly would come back for a side dish. So yeah, dehydrate you some vegetables. One more thing I want to tell you about that's dehydrated, and that is cabbage. I have a great big container of this. Cabbage comes back perfect. Perfect in a soup, casserole, whatever. You could even make a side dish out of it. Make sure you dehydrate you some cabbage. That's another thing that you could stretch a meal with. Put this to some of your chicken or to some of your ground beef or whatever. This is really a good stretcher, and it's very good for you. All right, and one more thing that you can put in your long-term storage is coffee. And this is freeze-dried instant coffee. Is very good for your pantry. And as we know what's going on with the coffee right now, I'm sure there's many suggestions out there of other ways and other types of coffee that's good for long-term storage, but this is the one I know about, so this is the one I'm telling you about, and that's instant coffee. So I suggest you get, if you're a coffee drinker, might ought to put some instant up on your pantry. All right, and now let me tell you about some things that are not good for long-term, but are wonderful short-term pantry preps. That would be mac and cheese. Mac and cheese has about approximately a year shelf life, but it's, for my family, we rotate through this so quickly it doesn't get a chance to go bad. Perfect to put into your pantry. Mayonnaise, you know, our condiments, approximately a year life on those as well. It's got eggs and oil in it. Anything that's got oil and eggs that make it turn rancid is not good for long term, but is fine for short term. So put you some mayonnaise on your shelf if you like mayonnaise. If you don't like mayonnaise, put some ranch or some mustard. Whatever food you eat is perfectly fine in your short term pantry. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't want to put, and I think I saw a video because I had to prepare myself for this video, so I watched a multiple of other preppers' videos. There's a lot of information out there far beyond what I'm telling you about what is good and not good for your prepper pantry. And if I can think, I'm going to try to look, hopefully I don't forget, and leave the prepper that I watched the video that was talking about the multiple ingredients inside your preps. Because when one goes bad, the whole box is bad. This might have rice in it, but when the seasonings and other things that are in this box goes bad, it makes the whole box bad. So, yep, so this is great for my short term, but not for the long term. Of course, oils. You know, oils don't last long term. Hamburger helpers. Perfect for your short term, not for your long term. Some things you can put them in airtight containers, take them out of the boxes, put them in Mylar bags and things like that, but this is kind of like a 101 type video. So there's much, much, much more out there to learn, but that's kind of the basics I wanted you to know, that you prep whatever you eat. It doesn't matter how much oil or whatever's in it, because it's going to fit into your prepping pantry just fine. It's just going to be on the short side of it. And the things like the dehydrated and the canned meat. Those are going to be on the long side of it. So y'all, I hope this was helpful. I know there's much more to learn. I suggest that you go out there and you check out some of these other YouTube channels that have great, wonderful videos on it that can maybe shed some more light. And I think I'll do the same. Y'all keep on keeping on, and y'all keep on coming back to Linda's Kitchen. I appreciate all the likes, the comments, and all you new subscribers. Thank you so much. And just, y'all have a good one, and I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.